Hello again, welcome back to these videos where we learn something every day, usually about English, but today about study tips. So I'm Professor Ken again. These are study tips with Ken. So today we're going to learn about cursive writing. Why cursive writing is important. You don't have to follow this book. I think this book is even out of print, but I'm just showing because cursive writing. So why is it important to learn cursive writing? Or how will it help you study better? So before I start, please please subscribe, of course, and please like below so that we know you're enjoying these videos and getting a lot from them. So let's see. So let's start with cursive writing. I know if you're not an English speaker, you're not in an English country, or you never learned cursive, it's different maybe. So I'll explain in two steps. The first step will be for people that are native English speakers or in an English country. So of course, English, we have two styles of writing. Of course, we have, let me see if I can turn a page. We have normal block style, which is the most common style taught these days. Even when I was young, most people didn't learn how to write. We learned this in school, but the teacher focused on mostly how to read it. So I can read it well, no problem. But people my age and younger, of course, it's more difficult to write in it, maybe. And that's important for this study tip, actually. Of course, this one's quite easy. Every American, or I should say, every native English person can write these kind of characters quite easily. But writing these, much harder. It takes more of my brain power. So sometimes, even reading them takes more of my brain power. Even my mother always writes to me. She's an ex-secretary, so she tries to write as quick as possible. So she writes in cursive when she writes me notes or sends me letters. And even reading her note, I have to concentrate 100% of my brain on what she's writing because I'm not used to it. Of course, this one, I can kind of read through it. There's on that topic, for example, there's, you can probably find on the internet, I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's a way where you can read and the letters in the word are mixed up. For example, instead of name is N-A-M-E, it might be in, and then E is same, but in the middle, M-A. It's misspelled in the middle. So you find that on the internet, it's quite interesting that a native person, even though the middle parts are misspelled, if the first letter and the last letter is the same, correct, then we can read it normally. I can read at almost the same speed. So my brain will fill in the gaps like, okay, that's what's happening. So, but I can't do that in cursive, of course. Cursive, I must concentrate and read slowly. So the reason I say this is a good study tip or technique, of course, because there's a lot of research showing that if something's difficult for you, your brain works on it. Your brain is more active trying to work on it. For example, when I first came to Japan, I was 30 years old learning how to bike for the first time. So my brain and my body was not used to biking on the streets, and I had to concentrate 100% of my energy on it. So that's why. So if you're studying anything, English, of course, is useful, but math, science, history, any subject, if you're writing in block style for study, instead change to cursive sometimes. So especially if difficult, like we talked about with gum smells, if it's difficult, change to cursive. So make it harder for your brain to work on that. So if I'm, what's math is difficult for me. But math is hard to do this way, but like science. Okay, the formula is, so write that. The formula is in cursive so that your brain has to work on it harder. And I said earlier, there's two parts to this. So if your country doesn't have cursive, your country might have something else. For example, in Japan, there's hiragana, katakana, kanji. There's romaji. There's several ways to work on it. So you could work on romaji from 4th grade elementary. So you could work on romaji. Romaji is basically these kind of English characters, not cursive, but like this. This will be basically romaji for Japanese. And of course, if you know katakana, hiragana easily, maybe kanji. You could make more kanji. On purpose, write kanji to make it more difficult for you. So kanji is, of course, the big Chinese characters. So whatever characters you have in your country, if you have different ways to read, like in Korean, they have other ways to read, pick the more difficult way to read. Not, again, like the gum example, not all the time, but when this page or this chapter or this topic is difficult, do that. Another thing you could do, if you don't have that in your native language, instead of, if you're a right-handed person, instead of writing right-handed, write left-handed. So, for example, if you're trying to learn some science formulas, and like, okay, what is this formula for salt? So you could write that in you're right-handed, but if you write it left-handed, it takes longer, and your brain actually has to focus more because it's not used to writing left-handed. So try that technique. It will help you if you don't have cursive. Otherwise, of course, choose one of your other one of your other ways to write your language, or if you're an English speaker, you're used to English, use cursive. By the way, I would say for note taking, block style is fine. Block style is as quick. But cursive, if you're taking notes in cursive in class, that's also help you too. Taking notes with the left hand in class, also helpful. Okay, thank you again for watching these videos. I hope you're using them and putting these study advice into action every day. So use something, grab it, put it into your life, put it into action, and do it all the time. Until tomorrow, so we'll have these videos every day. So please subscribe again, and here, watch some other study advice tips. We have lots of them. This is the 29th tip. Writing in cursive is 29 out of my main 30 tips. And over here, watch some other videos on our channel that you might enjoy. Thanks again. Have a good day, and see you in tomorrow's lesson.